Oi, bom dia. The Brazil Study Abroad Business Sustainability in Emerging Markets is an opportunity for students to explore some of the key opportunities, strategies in business sustainability through an emerging markets lens. Over the course of the class, we traveled to São Paulo and to Rio to meet with companies from startups to multinationals, meet with community leaders and Brazilians who are shaping the sustainable business movement in Brazil. Over the course of the class, the students have an opportunity to work on a practicum project with a certified B Corporation in Brazil and make recommendations and conduct research to help the company improve their impact using the UN Sustainable Development Goals as a lens. This is really a transformative opportunity for students to get immersed in Brazilian culture, to have the opportunity to engage with innovators and thought leaders, and to learn from the innovations that are coming from an emerging markets perspective. I'm excited that you'll get a chance to hear from the students who participated in our summer 2024 Brazil Study Abroad and just some of what they learned from the experience.
Wow. It has been 5 days since we came back from Brazil, and every single morning I've been thinking about how thankful I am to have received such an experience, to have been to Brazil and experience all that I did in this trip. Thank you so much, NC State. Thank you, Professor Thomas. Thank you, everybody who made this a possibility.
One thing in this course that made me feel hopeful was the businesses in general that we visited. They are implementing these sustainable practices not because they are forced to, but because they want to.
I loved Brazil. I loved the class, and I hope to continue learning from it.
And how they really care about both the environment and society.
I think there's a lot for us to learn from Brazil, and I hope that us and the rest of the world take advantage of that.
The current capitalistic society that we've all grown accustomed to in the U.S. is rather selfish, focusing on how any given corporation can boost their profits.
I will say really witnessing the passion and dedication from all these entrepreneurs that we visited, these organizations we visited. There's a lot of collaboration in the community. Craig Bell, again from Delicari, really showed us how you can be sustainable and be successful.
People don't know what true sustainability is. How can we expect them to incorporate it into their daily choices?
So one thing that surprised me during this course, and specifically we were on the ground in Brazil, was that I learned that in these emerging markets, there are companies, and quite a bit of them, that are among the best of the best when it comes to being sustainable, right? Whether it's their operations, supply chain, how they impact the surrounding community, they are some of the cream of the crop, so to speak, right?
With Toulouse, they have a critical impact on collaborating, educating, and empowering people in rural villages that do not have access to electricity. So they teach them to support themselves by servicing the equipment that they provide for them to provide lights in the village streets and in homes. Ambev, the beverage company, will shut down their beverage production if there's a natural disaster to provide clean water to surrounding areas. So they are prioritizing the clean water, UN SDG, over their business interests.
I was also surprised by Delicari and how they have found a way to have a carbon neutral milk product. It seems like they're able to treat their cows well and maximize production while entirely offsetting their carbon footprint as a natural part of the process.
Is it important enough for consumers, for example, like Nude? They're putting their carbon footprint label on their packaging. Is that going to make a difference? Is that really going to build awareness?
I felt hopeful seeing the passion and dedication of the people that we met, from the volunteers at Litro de Luz to the business students at Inspir, and even our Campus B leaders, Greg and Juliana. Meeting with the Brazilian MBA students who are also passionate about sustainability and international cooperation also gave me hope for the future, knowing that there are people across the globe all working towards the same goal.
Over and over again, we heard them emphasize that sustainability is not merely a framework to adhere to, or that it's something they're doing because they're mandated by law, but it's at the core of their mission. And I think my experience with corporate, especially being in finance, is that money is the top goal, and that, sustainability is a second thought. You can't really be sustainable and people focused and still make a profit. But this really made me hopeful that one day more businesses can understand that these are not mutually exclusive ideas.
One other thing that made me feel hopeful is the growing focus and change that's occurring in the favelas around education. It sounds like there's a lot of nonprofits that are prioritizing educational enrichment for the children in these communities and giving them hope that they can make a positive change.
Brazil and the United States had a lot of similarities.
History of African slaves and indigenous people from our trip to the Afro-Brazilian Museum of History in São Paulo. I had no idea about the scale of the African slave trade in Brazil, the fact that it was not abolished until after slavery in the U.S. Also, I was very surprised about the cultural blending of the African slaves and the indigenous people when both of those communities faced European colonization.
They provided a wealth of knowledge and expertise that really helped set the historical, political, and cultural context of Brazil. I also had the chance to attend a soccer match, which was just a beautiful celebration of Brazilian culture and patriotism. Everyone was so kind, so thoughtful, and I felt just really eager to embrace this cultural experience.
I, for one, didn't know exactly what it meant until taking this course and really diving deep into it. I hear it's a buzzword in many corporations, but in this trip, I really understood what sustainability meant. It's not just one faceted aspect of keeping the earth in good shape, but also our behaviors towards others, towards the environment, making sure that everyone has a fair shake at making a living.
The biggest impact on me was the B Corp certification. Before this course, I had never heard about B Corps, and I had no idea that companies could obtain these certifications or what it even meant to be a B Corporation, and the impact that being a B Corp has not only on the environment, but also on people, on the workers who work for you. And really, it's about doing more good in society than you take away from society through generating this profit. And it was just really interesting to me to see companies have sustainability at the center of their business model instead of having profits.
One thing in this course that concerned or scared me was the deforestation of the Amazon. So we learned that up to 80% of the deforestation is contributed to cattle ranching.
I like how quickly Brazil is shifting focus from pure growth without considering sustainability to a different approach where sustainable growth is the goal, and more companies are essentially pledging to prioritize sustainability.
How does the government come into play? Many of the companies we visited talked about how taxation structures affect their company and how changing policy will affect their company moving forward. But really, how do those policies, are they targeting sustainable businesses, or is it just general taxation structure?
The maturity of sustainability is vastly different across the globes, and across the globe, especially for the environment, are probably the ones that are furthest behind. Something that made me feel hopeful, though, is a lot of big corporations are thinking about sustainability and incorporating that into their business.
Based on the walk through the favela and around Sao Paulo, I still saw the use of many single-use plastics, a bunch of trash on the sidewalks. So that main question is, are sustainable products primarily focused towards the middle and upper class buyers? If so, what is that percentage of market?
I think Brazil is the most beautiful, wonderful place, and it really was a life-changing experience for me. And I think that I'd love to use these values and tools moving forward, not only in my work life and professional life, but also personally. But thank you so much for this course.
Overall, I think this was literally a life-changing experience for me. I'm looking forward to not only visiting again, but visiting other emerging markets.
If there's anybody looking to take this course next year, I would be the first person to walk up to them, speak to them about the experience, speak to them about what I was able to quantify and what I was not able to quantify as experiences that just sit deep within. Thank you so much again. This was a wonderful experience.
So the whole trip just made me so hopeful with the people that we met, the companies that we were able to visit and connect with, and the awareness that's being spread about sustainability, the efforts that are being done by our professor Jessica, getting the students involved. I'm now going to be going for the sustainability certificate because awareness is so uber important to then promote action and hopefully further adoption. Thank you for your time. And again, I'm just so grateful and thankful for being a part of this 2024 summer study abroad cohort studying in Brazil.